Guys, I'm really happy because I've been introing my videos as welcome to Amish Trades, where we walk fast and don't use gas, but I don't have to do that anymore because the mustache is growing back. It's such a good day, dude. Although I gotta say, it would make sense to start riding horses with how expensive gas has been. So it's kind of tit for tat. Welcome back to Trey's Trades. Great to see you guys. Like I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advice. Please say the grain of salt. We're going to talk primarily about AMC today, but there are two announcements and two big things that I'd like to start off with, just to get the book moving, the game rolling. Number one, I am coming back to YouTube live streaming for 2 hours a day from 1 o'clock Central until 3 o'clock Central. I will be live on YouTube, and I'm going to show you guys a graphic here because it does involve a couple other things. I do stream on twitch.tv/antijuicer every single day. If you want to go watch that, you sure can. But we're going to be making a comeback here. And I've asked myself, and this is something that people have asked a lot. This is probably my most asked question, is when are you going to start live streaming on YouTube again? And I'm going to be straight with you. I mean, the reason I haven't live streamed on YouTube is because I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable because the last few streams that I sort of had didn't feel good. You know, there was a lot of people sort of digging into you and getting into some of the failures that maybe you've had, and it makes you feel some sort of way. You know, it doesn't feel good to be pricked and prodded all the time, but I've come back to, and what I've realized is this is up here for me. You know, you can choose what you pay attention to. You pay attention to the 99% good things or the 1% bad things, and that's sort of a hard psychological barrier to get over, but I think this is the beginning. And I'm very happy for it. I'm very happy to come back to YouTube live streaming, and we're going to be cooking with Crisco once again, my friends. Number two, the Whiteboard Podcast. This is something that the Masked Investor and myself have been quietly working on in the background, and this is not stock related. So if you want to check out the Whiteboard Podcast, you can. Just know that these are conversations that are not primarily focused on AMC and GameStop. This is going to be happening simultaneously to all the other content that him and I both sort of work on or whatever. But if you're interested in this, the first episode is actually going to launch starting tomorrow. You can hit this little subscribe button, and there's a bell if you want to hit it. Nonetheless, AMC, right? AMC is sitting in a actually very interesting spot. I made a video not too long ago, and the title of this was Time to Get Greedy. So if I pull up my channel really quick, you're going to see this. And the purpose of this video was actually pretty straightforward. I filmed this one at the airport, just got off a plane. But Time to Be Greedy was centered around a specific point in the chart. This is 5 days ago. We are obviously on a 3-day weekend. So if you're coming back to that period in time, what you're going to find is that it was about the bottom of this little channel. Now, what particularly about, you know, sort of where this is sitting and where AMC is sitting right now made me think to myself, it's time to be greedy. It's time for this thing to make some decent moves. Well, very simply put, it is these channels. Technical analysis, TA, right? You look at this falling resistance, falling support, and what happens respectively, and what sort of the repercussions of a touch point on each of these has been in every single instance. So you can look, right? If we come back here and you take a look at this, tap, 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 tap. Every time that it's tapped this below trend line, this falling support, it has bounced back up to resistance. And every time it's tapped resistance, it's fallen back down to support. You can see it here, 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 and not quite here yet, right? Now, it didn't quite tap down on this support line like I would like to see, but then again, it didn't back here neither, as it was starting to wind up to come up to what was $34. The exact point that it had rejected. Well, this lined up pretty well with the 382 retracement, as well as this falling resistance line. Now, what I would anticipate is coming for AMC, you know, and this is actually very well backed by fundamentals, which we can look over here as Top Gun Maverick has set a Memorial Day box office record with a $156 million opening weekend. You can back this up with fundamentals and with the short interest and the data that kind of lines up with Amy right now, and you can make a conclusion. The conclusion is pretty straightforward. You don't have a cost to borrow that's really associated right now because it is the weekend, but was starting to creep up, about 8% average. Utilization's at 100%. Short interest by the books is at an all-time high. Shares on loan by the books is at 174 million shares, which is an all-time high. It's a 10% increase compared to, didn't realize my camera was frozen. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to fix the camera, so don't worry. But what I was saying is these are all-time high factors, right? And if you're at all-time high factors and you're starting to see the relationship of fundamentals improving, you're starting to see that movies really are not dead. I saw that Tim Pool, I think is his name. He's got the Tim Cast show. He came out and said, does anyone else notice that movie theaters are dead, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know what you're talking about, because all these pictures are in the comment section stating pretty much the exact opposite. You're kind of going against the grain here with the flow of what is being presented, right? And I've stated this before, and this isn't new information, but something I think is really important is you see divergences in markets, right? If you think back to June of 2021, when euphoria was at an all-time high, right? Basically, everyone was in a euphoric state of mind. It was probably the closest thing that I'll ever experience in my lifetime to heaven on earth. You know, we were all riding an immense high. These are the moments in which typically markets will pull back. And I use this as an example just because we know what that feeling looks like. When you're at euphoric highs, and this kind of translate over to the SPY as well, you start to see the lows start to begin, right? This kind of happened pretty quick. I mean, you look at this, it doesn't look like anything crazy. It just looks like another little micro pullback like we've gotten in the past. Maybe this, maybe this, maybe this, in which, you know, we just kind of bounced and rallied. However, these euphoric highs were met with lows. Immense periods of fear. And if you're looking at AMC right now, right, not only do you have an immense amount of fear, or did we have an immense amount of fear sort of being portrayed by the public, by the media, by analysts, whatever, but you have a divergence in fundamental improvement. You have a divergence in data. You have a divergence in buyers. And this is all verifiably true. You can look at the on-balance volume, the OBV, and you can see that more people are starting to buy AMI. In fact, you're getting a huge push up here by the OBV in the last couple of days with this buying spree that's been happening. And this comes back to the accumulation phase that we've sort of been in. And you look at these institutions, which, by the way, are likely lending out shares, so it's tit for tat, you know. It just shows that there's interest in the stock. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go to an X price target. It just means that there are institutions that are buying, and they could be lending shares, and they might not be lending shares. But if you look at the institutional ownership in AMC, what you're going to find is it has been steadily increasing. You have huge numbers that, according to Fintel, prove that buyers are taking place here. Massive amounts. AMC institutional ownership since June has only gone up. Look at this graphic. What does this tell you? It tells you, A, that this is more ammo for shorts to be borrowing shares, which gives you more of an upside when things actually squeeze out. And number two, it shows you that there's interest in institutional ownership. There was a fund not too long ago, and I made a video on this, in which sold Tesla to buy AMC. That tells you something, right? Tesla's a phenomenal company. If you're selling Tesla for AMI, you'd expect better, consistent, or at least better or consistent returns, right? Very important. So where are we at, right? Lows, max amounts of fear, SPY beginning to bottom at max amount of fear, or at least getting a rally off of this max amount of fear. I don't know if this is the bottom. I've talked about this before. If you want to see my thoughts on the SPY, check out my last video, right? And this is going to translate to really everything. A SPY rally is going to equal AMC rally. It's going to equal GameStop rally, and it has. And this tells you everything that you really need to know, right? We've seen the fear, and that's the great time to be buying. These are the times in which the old saying of, in a bear market, the buyers win and the losers sell, right? Tells you everything you need to know. So I expect out of AMI, coming off of this phenomenal Top Gun Maverick Memorial Day office record, $156 million opening, which is phenomenal. I mean, Tom Cruise absolutely slayed the nutsack of this dragon, setting up sort of a nice 3-day weekend anticipation, which could move the stock. It may not move the stock. Who knows? But regardless, you do have momentum. From a technical perspective, this looks like a clean bottom, clean reversal, clean rally. The volume on the daily candles is coming with it. You finished off with a really strong daily candle, and the volume was increased alongside it. I would be more concerned with this volume, this candle, I should say, if the volume wasn't following through, because this is really no retracement. You didn't get any retracement on the day when this thing was making the moves that it did, but it didn't matter in the end because you had the volume to back the move, which shows the strength behind this. This looks very reminiscent of sort of this double bottom that we got back here at $13 when it moved up to $34. Now, what would the equivalent be, right? This is the holy grail, and this is what's going to be important. TA matters, technical levels matter, and these are what I'm watching for. I've circled this back here because I thought this would take longer. But at the end of the day, this trend line is the holy grail. If you're looking for sort of the starting point, the match that is going to light the ignition behind a massive move in AMI, it's going to be this. It's going to be this trend line. If it was to happen in a couple days, this would line up with 10 June. It looked like about $26. A clean break over $26 would bring you then to about here, right? That $34 magic marker. You break 34 bucks at that point, then you're looking at probably the last touch point, which is $45, and then 51. And then you can really start scratching your head and thinking, is this going to be the chance for a new all-time high, right? We got to first cross this bridge. This bridge is at about 26 bucks if it was to happen on 10 June. And the further along you slide, the lower the trend line falls, which means it'd be about 25 in July. If you were to come over to August, it'd be about 23.50. But the point still stands, right? Patterns represent something until they are invalidated, and this pattern has not been invalidated, which tells us two things. It tells us that, hey, coming off this trend line bounce, you're inclined to see a bounce up to this trend line. If it rejects off this trend line, you're inclined to see a bounce back down to this trend line, and you just keep going back and forth until one of these trend lines gives out. Now, I am on the ape side of this, the bull side of this. I believe that AMC is an undervalued company at current prices. Which is a bold statement, right? It's a very bold statement considering the fact that they are negative cash flow. They have been losing money quarter over quarter. And the way that I would evaluate this and the way that I'd sort of attach a price to this is based on forward-looking valuation. I believe that Tesla, for example, a company that trades at massive market cap, massive amounts of money, trades on forward earnings. They trade on the belief that in the future, this company will represent X price target. And I believe the same with Amy. I think that there is going to come a day when they are cash flow positive. I think there's going to be a day when shorts in this, which have only pile drived in and have only gotten larger and larger and larger, are going to pay their dues. They're going to have to close their positions because, oh, my camera, what a great time. When shorts are going to have to close their positions. When the reckoning day will come, right? All shorts are future buyers. And your bet is, when are they going to buy? When are these guys going to pay their fair share? I believe it's going to be when they don't necessarily want to, when it's going to benefit long positions. Longs greatly outnumber the shorts here. And then technically, we just set up nice. We just really are. I think if the SPY continues to rally as it has, this is going to look really good for Amy. I think if the SPY taps here at about 422 bucks, you're going to see it tap up to about 440, in which case you might have seen a temporary bottom, which is also going to translate, as I've said, and as I've really doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on for some time now, is a rally into Amy. Amy will rally with the SPY, and as long as this continues, I think you're going to see some stuff you're going to be happy with. I really do. I really do. Hope you guys enjoyed Memorial Day weekend. I am thankful for all of our veterans out there, our active duty service members. I'm thankful for my dad. I'm thankful for my grandpa. And I'm thankful for everybody, my friends, my family, all you guys, and anybody that I don't know, every day, and especially today, for your service. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And here's to a week, huh? I really do think there's a chance here. I think there's a good chance the SPY continues its rally, which is going to translate to what my short-term PT is, price target, which is in that $25, $26 range. As long as the SPY can continue this rally, man, you're set up for an opportunity. And the opportunity's there, and the ammo is definitely loaded. The gun is loaded, and I'm excited to see what happens. So that's what I got for you guys. Appreciate you all. Tune in next time. Much love, light taps. Peace.